What are your thoughts on this kind of crazy world we're living in nowadays? Would you and we don't have to talk about this if you don't want to, but
No, I think the first few months of it were a little unnerving. We were in Florida when I think it really started to break in March of 20. And being away from home, we were just down there for a week, right? On 2 weeks on vacation. And I remember when the NBA player was making fun of COVID, then he got it, and it seemed like it was there. It just kind of steamrolled, and they were shutting down the beaches, they were shutting down the restaurants, and there was talking about shutting down domestic flights. We're like, how are we going to get home? And so that whole time was, I just refer to as just very unnerving. I mean, you have your normal routines and life stresses, and this just kind of puts another layer on there that I think has impacted people in so many ways. And go back to then, how do you relieve anxiety, stress, some of those things through you and I through exercise, and not everybody's like that. And so fast forward to where we are today, and it's still this cloud, but knowing there are vaccinations or other things that people can do, we're kind of trying to get back to some normalization. We're not there, and I think that still is a little bit troubling.
right.
In trying to manage a workforce through this. We consider ourselves an essential business. We're providing chemicals to water treatment plants, so those plants still need to treat water, and people need to drink water during all of this. So we had a very thankful group working down at the plant that, thank goodness we're open. I can come to work, I can have some normalcy, I can have my routine, and I think that was certainly a benefit. But where do we go from here? I don't know. It's just crazy, and we talk to our people often about what's going on. Fully admit we don't have all the answers. We're trying to do the best we can for
Right.
a small employee-owned company in Searsport, Maine, right? And just having, I think, the dialogue and even recognizing that we don't have the answers. We're just like everybody else, and trying to make sense of everything that's happening. And
Right.
sometimes it doesn't make sense, but at least being visible and being out and just kind of talking through it. And again, it could be a commiseration too, right? Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're wearing masks now again, or we're doing this or doing whatever. But I don't know if that's what you're kind of looking for. It's just trying to get along, and I don't know, not get too high, not get too low, because it's easy. I mean, you can tell that it has impacted people, and it sometimes put people on edge and anxiety, and that's all normal. And when you don't have one thing to point to, and then some of it has become so political that that's a whole nother set. And
Right,
I'm not
right.
going in a political direction, but I'm just saying, just in general, I think that just adds to it.
Yeah, that whole the essential business, and I totally understand why you guys would be essential, but just even drawing that line, what's essential? If I mean, imagine you're running a smaller business that is told it's not essential. Well, it's essential to me. Like, I need this to survive.
Right.
That I could see how that be. Yeah, I don't know how some of these restaurants made it. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, that's just one industry. I mean, the stress that must be on.
There's a lot. I mean, think of those that haven't made it. I mean,
Right.
some got creative, some shut down for a while, then reopened, and even during when some were opening, or they were trying to be creative and do something. Not that we felt an obligation, but we wanted to be out, whether it was doing takeout or those that were still
Right,
doing indoor
right.
seating, to show them support, right? So
Right.
we're open, we're working, we're all still getting paychecks, and then trying to pass that along and be out in the community and supporting.
Right. Yeah, I know the in workforce right now is hard. workers have just disappeared. I mean,
I've had numerous conversations with not only inside our facility but more so outside our facility, other business leaders of, what are you seeing? And we're all seeing the same thing, and we're all asking the same question, and nobody seems to have the answer of where did everybody go? Where'd they go?
right, right.
And so I don't know if I think it's a combination of things where the baby boomers were going to retire. They were retired, but then they kept working longer. So I think some of them decided, well, I'm gonna exit.
And they're probably they're in a higher risk. I hadn't even thought about
right.
that. But
they're in a higher risk.
So wanting to come back, being at risk too, keeps
Sure.
them away. Yeah.
Then I think you have families where you had two working spouses, let's say, and children, and then okay, now you got daycare issues or whatever, and one stays home and then decides not to go back to work. I mean, so it's not going to be one thing, but you kind of point all these different dynamics that are happening, and so take those folks that maybe had mid-level, let's say mid-level jobs, and they leave. So then your entry-level people kind of take those jobs, and now you're trying to fill the entry-level people, and where are they going to come from?
Right.
Recent graduates, okay, great. Then who else?
And we're a good state at exporting our youth too, unfortunately.
Yeah. So it, we up until this, we didn't have a problem hiring people. Small community down in Searsport and the surrounding towns, and we would just let our employees know we're looking to fill some slots, and it was friends and family show up. Never had to advertise.
Right.
We got a sign out on Route 1
Right.
that we're hiring, and that's helped, but it's nowhere near. I mean, I could easily hire 10 or 15 people today. They're just not there.
I'd like to think that a lot of workers have. I mean, for me, a big priority in any job I have was family time. That's. I work so I can spend time with my family and have the most comfortable life we can have together and enjoy our, and making memories and stuff like that. And, a lot of people, I do think a lot of people were the kind of American dream, chase the dollar kind of thing, and realized. I'd like to think in my wishful thinking, Dee always says I'm too positive, like a glass half full all the time. But I'd like to think a lot of them are like now spending more time with their families and
Sure.
Found that priority. I think it's probably gone the other way. There's probably more alcohol consumed and more domestic problems, I think. But I'd like to think that's my whole wishful thinking that's what's happening.